Long ago, in a faraway land nestled between snow-capped mountains and sparkling lakes, lived a young girl named Nora. Now Nora was known throughout the village as the most honest girl in the world. That's why when the village elder told the legend of the invisible bridge hidden somewhere in the misty mountains, she was determined to be the first to find it. The bridge, he said, could only be seen by those who were honest with themselves. He had searched for it many years ago, but fear had clouded his vision and he had never found it. But now Nora wanted to try. So one day she packed a bag with some bread, cheese and dried fruit, then set off up the mountain with her dog Scout by her side. The path was steep and rocky, but after hours of walking, they finally reached a clearing. And there before them lay a thick, white forest shrouded in mist. Now, according to the legend, the invisible bridge was hidden somewhere within this forest, but the forest seemed endless, and Nora felt a growing sense of fear and doubt. Was the bridge really there? Would she ever find it? For a moment, she considered turning back, but then she remembered the words of the village elder. Only those who are honest with themselves can see the bridge. Are you honest with yourself, Nora? She asked herself. Well, not always, she admitted. Sometimes I get so caught up in trying to do what is right that I forget to be kind. Other times I worry so much about what others think of me that I hide my true feelings. She sighed. It's hard to be honest with yourself and others when you have so many worries and fears. As if understanding her thoughts, Scout barked and nudged her hand with his wet nose, then trotted ahead into the fog. Suddenly, Nora heard a voice. Who goes there? Startled, she followed the sound and saw an old tree with gnarled branches. The tree rustled again, and Nora could have sworn she saw the branches move on their own. Then out popped a little squirrel dressed in a waistcoat and a top hat. Good afternoon, he said in a surprisingly deep voice. My name is Fitzwilliam, but you may call me Fitz. What brings you to the Misty Mountains? I'm looking for the invisible bridge, Nora replied. The bridge that only those who are honest with themselves can see. Oh, you want to see the bridge? Flit quipped, hopping from branch to branch. Well, that won't be possible until you learn to trust yourself. But I don't trust myself, Nora exclaimed. If I did, I wouldn't be standing here afraid in a forest full of talking squirrels. Don't be silly, child, Flit said, chuckling. The bridge isn't made of stone or wood, but of honesty. To see it, you must admit your fears and mistakes. But I'm afraid I'll never be honest enough, Nora said, feeling tears prickle her eyes. Flit jumped down onto a nearby rock and looked at her with his bushy tail wrapped around his body. You already have crossed the first stone, he said gently. When you admitted you weren't always honest with yourself and others, the bridge is building stone by stone with each step you take, Nora. All you have to do is keep going. And besides, you're not alone. You have Scout, who's the most loyal and honest dog I know. And I'll be with you too, watching over you from this tree. Thank you, Phil, Nora smiled, feeling a bit better. Then taking a deep breath, she continued into the forest. As she walked, she saw all sorts of amazing things. There were mushrooms that glowed in the sunlight, flowers that sparkled like jewels, and birds that sang in colorful, musical voices. But suddenly the trees grew darker and the path became rougher. And Nora felt a new wave of fear and self-doubt wash over her. She missed the bright colors and friendly creatures of before. Then she heard a loud crack and jumped in fright. From behind a nearby bush, a pair of beady eyes watched her every move. Startled, Nora took a step back and fell over a log. But before she could scramble to her feet, a deep voice boomed. Caught you. A large shape emerged from behind the bush. It was a badger with sharp claws and a fierce expression. Have you come to take the bridge away from me? Nora cried. Not at all, child, the badger said with a smile. I am its guardian and protector. But you aren't very good at hiding, the badger said, chuckling. You're as transparent as the bridge you seek. I can see everything. Your hopes, your dreams, your fears and doubts. We all have fears and doubts, Nora said, feeling a little embarrassed. I thought I could be honest with myself, but then I start worrying about what might happen next and I lose my way. The badger nodded understandingly. You needn't worry. Child, every step you take makes the bridge a little stronger, and besides, you have Scout and Fizz to help guide you. But I'm still afraid, Nora whispered. Afraid of what? The badger asked softly. Afraid of trusting myself, Nora admitted. Afraid that I might not be strong enough to face whatever lies ahead. The badger looked at her for a moment in silence. You already have faced so much, child, he said finally, pointing his nose towards the path ahead. You just don't realize it. Over there lies the last part of your journey. It may seem scary, but it's only in your mind. All you have to do is believe in yourself. Once you do, the bridge will become real. Thank you, Badger. Nora smiled bravely, then turned and headed towards the path. As she walked, she could feel the bridge becoming stronger with each step she took. Soon she could hear the sound of running water and the sweet singing of birds. And as the path leveled off, the trees parted, revealing a beautiful sight before her. There in the distance lay a shimmering lake surrounded by tall mountains. And in the middle of the lake, stretching from one shore to the other, was the invisible bridge. Nora gasped in amazement. It was made of smooth, flat stones that shimmered like rainbows. In the center, there was a small house made of shining crystal. And sitting on the porch was the village elder. Scout barked happily and ran towards the lake, while Flit flew down from above and landed on Nora's shoulder. You found it, Nora whispered, more amazed than she could say. Of course you found it, child, the elder said with a knowing smile. You had the strongest desire to find the bridge and you never gave up. That's what made it possible. But how could I have done it without you? Nora asked, looking at the badger, Flit, and the mountains around her. Because you trusted us, the badger said, and trusted yourself. And when you trust yourself, you can build the strongest bridge. As the sun shone brightly in the sky, Nora walked across the bridge towards the old man. She knew that from now on, she would never stop believing in herself. She had faced her fears and worries and discovered that she was stronger than she had ever imagined. With that newfound strength, she knew she could overcome any challenge that lay ahead. The end.